On today's show, we're going to take you back to medieval times and take a look at life in a castle. Many of the great castles of the Middle Ages are still standing today. A castle was a fortified private residence of a lord. The lord could be a king or a lesser baron, but in either case, the castle was a home as well as a stronghold. How, you may ask? A castle was designed to be safe against a cavalry charge of knights. So safe that it could withstand a lengthy assault or siege by an enemy. You know, I always wondered when the first castles were built. Well, we're going to answer that on today's show. The earliest castles appeared in the 9th and 10th centuries. Lords built castles for protection and as bases for their soldiers. The simplest was the ringwork, an enclosure surrounded by a ditch with an earth rampart inside of it.
It's a lovely night, isn't it?
Yes, my lord.
Well, it's about that time to hit the hay. Guard my castle.
Yes, my lord. I will not disappoint you.
Intruder! Intruder!
Did you know they had prisoners back then? Yes, they did. A castle seems an ideal place for keeping prisoners. Some of them were captured noblemen awaiting the payment of money. Most rooms called dungeons were probably cellars. Only the ones with difficult access may have been prisons. They were usually punished by fine, mutilation, or even execution. More castles were used as prisons after the Middle Ages. Do you ever wonder if people in medieval times went to church? Yes, they did. The chapel was an important room in a Christian castle because inhabitants were expected to join in regular services. As castles developed, the chapel became part of the domestic range of buildings. It might be decorated with carved stonework and wall paintings that often illustrated a Bible story. Because few people could read the Bible itself, and so many relied on pictures. The clergy were among the few who could read and write. The grandest of all buildings, the Great Hall. The hall was the main room in the castle. It was used for eating, sleeping, and carrying out business. The day in the hall began early with breakfast, which consisted of bread soaked in ale or watered wine, eaten after Mass. The main meal, where formality and good manners were expected, was taken at about 10 or 11 in the morning. Boy, just talking about this makes me hungry. In the Middle Ages, the heat for cooking was provided by fires. So, the castle kitchen was often housed in a separate building in the courtyard. But this meant that the food cooled as it was carried to the table. So it became more common for the kitchen to be joined to the castle hall by a pantry, a buttery, a bakehouse, and even a brewery or two. Boy, just talking about this makes me even hungrier. A variety of foods was served in the castle hall. Beef and mutton, mutton is sheep of course, were the main meat dishes, but venison, deer, was eaten after a successful hunt. Because there was no refrigeration, animals were kept near the kitchen until ready for slaughtering. The meat might be eaten with onions, garlic, and herbs from the castle garden, and the most common vegetables were dried peas and beans. Fish was served on Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday, and also during Lent. At feasts or royal meals, more exotic items, such as peacock or crane, were served. The most spectacular dish was the chef's dish, subtili, a mixture of sugar, paste, marzipan, and jelly, painted and molded into shapes like castles or ships. Oh boy, I bet your house isn't like this one. A castle was home to a lord, who could be anyone from a minor baron to the king himself. The lord's rank meant that he enjoyed the luxury of privacy with his own chamber. Kings and great lords who had several castles and houses would appoint an official, called a castellan, to run the castle in their absence. I wish my wife was like this. The most important woman in the castle was the lady, the wife of the lord. High-ranking women had their own ladies-in-waiting to attend them, and there were also female servants. Women of all classes learned how to spin, weave, and sew, and some ladies of rank were skilled at embroidering in gold and silver threads. I bet all of you people watching this love entertainment. Life in the castle was not all work and warfare.
Entertainment,
Hunting and hawking were greatly enjoyed by all and brought useful additions for meals. To while away the hours indoors, people played board games.
Now sing I'm a little teapot.
I'm a little teapot, short and stout. Here is my handle, here is my spout. When you tip me over, hear me shout.
Okay, shut up.
Much of this entertainment was provided by traveling minstrels and players who moved around. But some kings and nobles kept a jester or clown to entertain them personally.
What the? Mullet, Sir Barry, and Tim the Tall. Get in here. I'm king of the castle, king of the castle, king of the castle.
No, you're not king of the castle anymore! We're done!
Barry, go get him.
No, I'm done, man. Go get him yourself.
Chocolate?
It's not your day. Well, I guess that's our show, everybody.
Yeah!
Clap it up for Lee! Clap it up for